it seems to me, I suppose, in the past, as a consumer of the output of universities to some degree, hiring junior people out of university and so on, that there's a big gap between the kinds of skills that people leave university with and the kind of skills that they're going to need in order to become a professional software developer of some kind. Would you agree with you? I can see you nodding, so you would agree with that.
I would definitely agree with that, but there are so many moving parts in this challenge, if you'd say. So that, like this, if you look at a university degree in computer science, historically, it has been focused towards an academic career. It's like everything you're being taught is taking you a little step further to become a professor in computer science. And that is because that has been sort of the utmost goal for the people who are teaching. And when the people who are teaching are thinking this is the best thing to do, obviously this is what they're trying to teach the students, because the people who are, can we say, prolific in industry are normally not the one who are teaching at university. The ones teaching at university are the ones who really beeline towards that academic career. Yeah. So there's been a big mismatch. And also in my research in teaching in computer science, there's also the other thing that the people who are deciding what you should be taught, like all the different courses, they have either never been in industry or it's been a very long time since they've been in industry. So when they put the program together, like the whole holistic program together, it's also focused towards an academic degree and not industry.
And I suppose that's a matter of both.
Students are doing, at least. Yeah.
Sorry, I spoke over you.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I suppose.
No, I've forgotten. Please say it.
I suppose that means that there's two aspects to that. One, those people don't have the experience, but also it's kind of the stuff that's easier to score to some degree, if you can kind of think in those sorts of terms and the sorts of things that, you know, the more fuzzy problem solving, I suppose, in the way that I would think about it in industry.
That's a very good point. So, oh God, I've got so much I want to say about this.
Cool, go.
So what you are touching upon here is what's called learning goals or learning objectives.
Yeah.
And when I was a student at computer science, we didn't talk about learning goals and learning objectives. We talked about how much you needed to understand. Mm-hmm. And if you want to evaluate how much people understand, the way to do it is to make them say something, to explain something, and then you will evaluate how, to what level, to what degree they understand it. Or you make them, as you say, you make you make a test, a written test where they have to solve some specific problems, and academic problems are much easier to describe than real life problems, in a sense. They're much easier to describe and they're much easier to evaluate.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I learned when I stepped into this research about learning and teaching was that all the different examinations that I'd done before, both oral and written examinations, I tried to think about how much they understood. I tried to ask questions to see how much they understood. I tried to evaluate what they said to see how much they understood. And in a sense, a lot of the oral examinations that I examined, both as an examiner and a censor, it was more like an IQ test than it was actually figuring out how much they got out of the course. So if you think about learning goals, it's much more practical. It's much more concrete. So learning goals or learning objectives is not so much what are you going to teach and what's the level of understanding, but what can they actually do? What can they say? What can they evaluate? What can they do? All these things.